welcome to PPTV. I am your host, Beth, as always, and today my lovely guest is Tania.
Hi, good morning everyone, hi.
I'm so excited that you've come today.
I am as well, it's crazy. I feel like we've never actually met in person, but I feel like, you know, as with people that you follow on social media, I feel like I know you already.
Just see them everywhere. So
yeah, absolutely.
This is really exciting.
Yeah.
For you guys who are perhaps watching and don't know much about yourself, can you give us a little bit of an intro?
Yeah,
who you are?
Of course. So I'm Tania. I'm based in Devon at the moment. I work, so I'm a doctor at the same time as investing in property. I operate serviced accommodation. We also have, my husband's a builder, so we have a building company, so we do buy, refurbish, refinance on buy-to-lets. So that's kind of my property background so far.
Yeah.
We've probably been doing property. I mean, there's loads of strategies of property, but we've been doing property for about 2 years. So I started just after I'd had my first baby.
Yeah.
We bought our first buy-to-let, managed to pull out most of our money.
Fantastic.
So we're looking to do more of that alongside our serviced accommodation business now. And we run a small service accommodation business where we are at the moment, but we're happy with how that's going. We're happy with the money it's generating, and we're happy that we've got most systems in place to make it relatively hands-off.
Yeah.
But we're now diversifying to different areas, and we've got quite big plans coming up for sort of next year as well. So
exciting. So pretty full on.
Oh my God, it's very full on. Yeah, I mean, just to put it into perspective, so I have a young daughter who's 2.5, just over 2.5. I work 3 days a week plus on calls as a doctor as well.
Yep.
And so I've kind of, with little help from my husband, of course, I've set up the service accommodation business on pretty much a day a week over the last 7 months.
That's intense.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. But do you know what? Like, it is intense, and sometimes you do feel exhausted.
Yeah.
Like I had a day like that a few days ago. I think I did a post on, it. I was just like, guys, I've just hit the brick wall today. I'm not doing any work kind of today. I'm shattered. But most of the time, service accommodation and property in general, I really enjoy. So I don't feel like I'm working.
Yeah.
You know, like I've made a massive trip up from Devon to Peterborough yesterday. Yeah, which is like a 5-hour trip, which is pretty crazy. And I don't see that as, oh my God, I have to push myself to go there. It's like, yes, great. I get to network.
You're excited.
Exactly. I get to meet like fabulous people who kind of are on the same path or a similar path, not necessarily the same path as me. And it's just really exciting. So I don't feel like it's arduous hard work because property and business is something relatively new to me, but I love what I'm doing at the moment.
And the fact that you're passionate about it, it's not a chore, it's something that you look forward to, like travelling to Peterborough once a month for your VIP.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to slow that down a little bit because I'm 6 months pregnant, by the way, if you didn't know already. Thank you so much,
But it's amazing that you've got all this on your plate. You are 6 months pregnant as well. You do have a young child as well. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get you on the show, is because you do give such good value in the community. You're always doing top tips, sharing the actual reality of your property journey, even like the other day when it isn't going so well. Yeah. Because that does happen. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but you're very real and you do share that with people, which I really respect, especially with everything else that you have going on, because most people can't go immediately into full-time into property. Yeah. It is a side project that they do alongside their career, being a mum, other jobs. So I just thought you could offer a really good perspective to other people tuning in who are perhaps in a similar situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of my big mission, actually, that I've come to realise now, is that I'm kind of here to, I'm definitely on this planet to kind of help people. It sounds so cliche and so cheesy, but it's definitely true. You know, I've been working as a doctor for a long time, and that's the path that I thought I was kind of destined to go down. But now I've realised actually I can help people in other ways, sort of help build their confidence, help kind of give them an example that you can set up a business if you're in a demanding full-time or part-time job, and if you've got a young family as well. I just think that's the kind of example that I want to show, and the kind of image that I want to portray. It's not all roses, like you just said, but it can be done.
It can be, and if you want it, you can go out there and you can get it, and you can make it work around your life, your wants and your needs. Like I said, you're a doctor as well, which I'm sure everyone can appreciate that's not a low stress environment.
No, I mean it's massively demanding. So I'm pretty much almost at consultant level now.
Yeah.
So I work pretty much independently most of the time in the hospital. So it's a massive responsibility, and it can be a lot of stress as well.
Yeah.
I just worked the weekend, so I did 12 hours Saturday, 12 hours Sunday, and then Monday on my day off, I went straight into doing 3 photo shoots for 3 different SA properties, and I was like, oh my God, I'm knackered. It was so tiring.
But it's fantastic, because like you said, you are passionate about it, and didn't you do a post with all those SA photos as well? You gave us a sneak peek of some of the projects that you have going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And you also gave some top tips, I think, about the importance of like getting your photos done professionally for your properties. And it's stuff like that you give to the community that I think is really insightful.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I just think like sometimes people are a bit worried about paying up front for maybe a professional photographer or something. Like, I could cut that corner, I could save a bit of cash. But actually in the long run, those upfront costs cost you less.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just talking specifically about photography with your SA, so you basically have to market your SA as a product.
Yeah.
And your photos are the first thing that entices your consumer into then clicking on your property and then hopefully converting into a booking. If you've got really shoddy pictures on there, it's just not going to help you convert those potential guests into a booking. So it's really important. To be honest with you, I have actually had a unit on since April, I think we've had, and it's just been my crappy iPhone photos on there, but it's literally because we've been so booked up, I've not been able to get the photographer in. So actually on Monday, I just made a massive effort. I was like, right, I've got a day where there's no guests, quick get in. I had guests arriving that day, but it's like, just get it done in the morning.
Make the most of that time.
Because photos are really important. I know that I could get even more bookings and I could probably ask for a higher price with a higher standard of photos. So you really shouldn't scrimp and save on a photographer. I pay something like £150 for a full shoot with all the editing for a 2 to 3 bed apartment or house, which I think is really reasonable, and you'll get that money back with decent photos. Like,
it's invested in yourself almost, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's like investing in education, property education, which I've done a lot of and I'm still doing. I mean, photos is imperative, as well as getting really good reviews when you're running a service accommodation business. So
you mentioned you've been in property for about 2 years now. So how did that come about? Was it something that you'd always perhaps wanted to do, or was it one of those things that you just organically found it and then was like, oh, I'm interested?
I'd kind of heard about people saying, there's nothing safer than houses with regards to investing your money and stuff, but it was never something that I was like, I have to do. It was actually my husband who came across another education provider. You've heard this story before. No, but I'm totally dedicated to progressive now. Like I'm totally all for progressive because I've done met a lot of people, and I really truly believe that the value and content that you get from doing courses and getting educated here is invaluable. So I'd never go back to another company because I just think you get so much value. So what was I saying? So it was actually my husband who came across this like half-day free seminar type thing. Someone that does Homes Under the Hammer. You probably know who I'm talking about. And he went along. I don't know how he went along. Because he doesn't usually kind of pick up on adverts and things. He's a builder, so I guess he was kind of aware of property investing and things. I was under the impression until that point that you had to kind of save up your deposit, as most people are. Save up your deposit to then buy your house, and then you have to save up another deposit, and it could take like years to build up a small buy-to-let portfolio. And I just thought that was property investing. I didn't have a clue. So then he encouraged me to go on that. We then did further training with them, just a 3-day course, and they gave us all the basics. I presume it's pretty similar to the masterclass progressive equivalent. And then we were just like, our eyes were opened to the world of all the different strategies that were possible in property investing. And I didn't really do anything after that because I went through a really difficult time. I'd lost my mum to cancer, and I was having a lot of legal battles with people involved with that, so it was really stressful.
Yeah.
And that was my priority, to sort that out, and I was spending thousands on solicitors for that, so it was really stressful. So kind of investing in property at that time, I had to put it to the side, even though I was really excited and motivated having done that course.
Wasn't a priority, was it?
Not at that time. And I had a stable job, you know, my income was fine, so it wasn't a priority or a need at that point. And then I came across MSOPI last year, March time.
Yeah.
I can't remember how I did. It must have been Facebook or something.
Must have been Facebook and email.
Hi, Rob. Yeah, all of those. I don't know where I clicked onto it, but I did. I went to MSOPI, and that just reignited the excitement for me to get back into property. I was more stable with kind of my emotions, having gone through all of that stuff related to my mum passing away and stuff. So, so that was fabulous, and I met some, I think, lifelong friends at that MSOPI course, who we've got, you know, potential talks to do joint ventures with and stuff like that. I've met an investor from there as well who wants to invest with us. So that was brilliant. And then I signed up to a few courses. I signed up to deal packaging and the commercial conversion courses. Did those, loved those. Haven't yet pursued those kind of strategies at the moment because I just can't
do everything.
Lots of my eggs in different baskets at the moment, although I have plans for the future. And does that answer your question? I'm rambling.
Yes, no, that was very thorough. No, that shows like kind of your journey of how it happened. And I think for a lot of people, it can show that maybe because it's not the right time, that's okay. You can come back to it. It's not going anywhere. Houses are here to stay.
Yes.
So, no, I think that's a fair enough point to make, that it's okay to wait until you're in a better place too.
Absolutely.
Because I think if you've got too much on your plate, sometimes you can get even more overwhelmed and stressed.
You're so right.
So you need to be in that mindset, ready to learn. And I think what you said about the MSOPI, of the people that you meet there, like, I think that is one thing that Progressive is very big on, is the community aspect.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's invaluable again. None of the other property education companies that I know of offer such a community where you feel really supported, you get loads of value. If you ever have an obscure question about property legalities with regards to properties, mortgages, you can always put a post on the community and someone will come back and someone will give you a valid answer. Most of the time you'll get multiple answers, and it's really supportive. You have people cheering you on, you have people supporting you who are like, oh, we're really interested in your journey and we want to follow you and stuff. So that's just really encouraging, and it just keeps motivating. And I think that's a massive part of the Progressive brand, to be honest with you. It's a proper community. And, you know, like you've said before in your other videos, you know, if you contact Rob directly, he will reply personally, which is just massive. And other big trainers do as well. So I think the quality of the education and the content that you get from just being in the community, regardless of whether you're doing courses or VIP like I am, it's just massive. It's huge, and it's life-changing, really.
Yeah, I think surrounding yourself with those people really helps as well, because other people sometimes don't understand property, think you're a bit crazy for investing all this money. For instance, don't you do rent to SA? So a lot of people, they're like, you don't even own that property. Like, how does that work? And people who aren't perhaps in the property business, they can't support you because they don't understand it. Whereas, like, for instance, Rent to SA, like, that's a fantastic way to get started and get your business rolling. Because you don't have to purchase the property to start with.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's one of the main reasons why we got into Rent to SA. Essentially, we want freedom of time and flexibility with regards to location. So we don't want to be stuck in one place because of a 9-to-5 job. We want the flexibility to be wherever we want in the world, for however long we want, with whoever we want, but still generating an income. So obviously you can't be in a job in a particular location with that in mind. And that's our main vision, to be honest with you. And so then we thought, okay, Tania has to get out of her job if we're going to do that at some point. So we need to replace your salary and your income. And so my husband and I got together and we were like, right, let's do Rent to SA. It's kind of relatively quick and easy and relatively low cost financially to actually get into, because the initial financial outlay is quite low. You have to pay for, you know, your 1 month's rent, a month's deposit, and then you have to finance the furnishings, etc. But there's lots of creative ways of going about that. I have investors who are happy to put up the funds for me to actually set up SAs. So even if you don't have the savings, then you can still do it. I have a lot of kind of people who are freshly trying to get into SA or rent to SA. They're like, oh, I'm going to save up the deposit and save up my funds. I'm like, you don't actually have to do that. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, you know, and I'm not an expert, but I could tell you based on my experience that you don't actually have to do that.
Well, you've gone out there and done it yourself.
Yeah.
So you're proof that it can work. You don't need those funds up front.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like with a house, like you said, your original thought was you had to save for the deposit, then get your house.
Which is what we did. We still want to do that. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. No, but it's the same with SA, of that mindset of, no, there are people who are willing to give you the money to go and do it. You just have to find those people. Yeah,
and you just have to show them, I'm a real people person, and you just have to kind of show people who you are. And I hope that I come across as a genuine person, friendly, kind of people-oriented. It helps having a kind of profession where you are supposed to be respectable and you have a certain kind of standing in society. That definitely helps. But I think if you can get your genuine personality, that you're honest, genuine and trustworthy, people can tell. And then if you can tell them that they can receive something in return that's beneficial to them, then people are going to want to work with you, I think.
Yeah, and that's another reason why we got you on today, is because we've seen all your Facebook Lives where you are very honest, you're very genuine. You explain what is going on in your business, as well as giving advice to others who are perhaps thinking of getting into the industry, or if they're going through a similar problem, how you solved it. And I think that's just very helpful, and it's given not for the sake of getting anything back, it's just to help others.
Yeah, totally, because I've been in that struggle. You know, recently I've seen lots of people post about struggling to get their first rent to SA deal, and I know from personal first-hand experience that it's really hard actually, kind of negotiating and getting your credibility and professionalism across to letting agents, landlords. It's really difficult. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and be like, it's really hard and like you're going to suffer and struggle to get your first deal.
It's nice that you actually give like the real perspective of your first one is going to be hard. It's not going to be an easy, smooth ride. Like these are the hiccups that you're going to experience, because then people can be prepared for it, which I think it's very exciting. And I think if anything, that will make people more prepared and wanting to go into the industry more.
Yeah, I think it's important. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I was telling people something different to what I'm experiencing. So, for example, a lot of the time, actually, the inspiration that I get for content and value to put out to the community and to help others is based on people contacting me directly. I've had coaching chats with them, coaching calls with them. We've exchanged messages and stuff, and I've kind of just based the content that I put out there on what I've discussed with that person, because it's valuable to them, so I think, oh, it might be valuable to other people as well.
If one person's asking it, there's more likely there's 5 more who want to ask that.
At least.
So I think that's a really good thing that you're doing, and just helping others. And I've seen like how upfront you are in your Facebook Lives, and like anyone, no, not in like a bad way, but like if anyone has any questions, it is like, well, here's the honest answer.
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to be honest. Like you have to tell people how it is, because these are potentially people that are parting with like potentially a lot of money to do a training course or to get their first deal over the line, and you have to be honest with them. You know, I have a mentee at the moment who, you know, I have to be completely honest with her based on my experience and my knowledge and what I know. And that's really important. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, you know, if I'd been giving the wrong information. So I'm more than happy to kind of give the information away based on my experience and what I've learned and all the research that I've done.
So going off that then, what would perhaps be your top 3 tips to someone thinking about getting into, for instance, SAs? What would top 3 tips be? They haven't started yet, they're thinking about going into it. What would you suggest?
You have to know what you're dealing with, so you have to understand the nature of the beast that you're getting into. So whether that means doing research online, networking with lots of SA operators that are in it already, or getting some sort of education with regards to courses or books or getting a mentor. You know, everyone says, oh, get educated, but it's really important, because you can't just jump into Rent to SA without understanding the basics. So that's an absolute priority for me. You have to understand it regardless of whether you're going to get into it or not. You have to know.
You have to understand the core aspects.
Yeah, exactly. Before you jump into it. It's great to get support as well. So if you do go down the kind of mentor side of things, then you've got someone to kind of push you in the right direction, but always choose someone that's already doing it and knows what they're doing, but also is at least 1 or 2, 3 steps ahead of you. 2 more points.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
No, it's fine. I have to think. So other advice would be research your area. So you have to know the area that you're getting into. Ideally, if you're going to do rent to SA, you should ideally try to focus on an area relatively close to home. It doesn't have to be your immediate town, city, village, whatever, but within an hour or 2 hours probably. Yeah. Do your research, so do your numbers. And when I say do your numbers, you know, there's lots of content. I've done content on the community before about how to research your numbers and how to know if a deal's going to work. So you need to know the area that you want to get into. Just going back to point 1 as well, I would always advocate kind of building a network of friends that are in that strategy that you want to get into, because that's what I've done. I've learned massively, yeah. We discuss things all the time. You know, usually when I come up to VIP, 2 of my very good friends, Josh and Paul, we all get together. Yeah. We usually stay in the same B&B. It didn't happen this time, but we get together. So on the Tuesday night before Wednesday VIP, we get together and have an SA mastermind on our own, and we're 3 SA operators and we're all doing well, but we all do things differently. So it's great to kind of share experiences. So that's just an add-on to point 1. So point 2 would then be know your area, research the area. Point 3 would be know what you want to get out of it. So know what you want to get out of it and what you can put into it, I think, because SA, when you start, it's relatively high work intensive. Does that sound right?
Yeah. So up front, there's a lot of work involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When you're starting out, because it's your first unit, you need to do all the research of that unit. You need to furnish it. You need to source all the furnishings. You need to source your handymen, your cleaning team, housekeeping team. But once you've got that set up for the first 1, 2, 3, then you can just scale up and kind of build on those systems that you have in place. So those are my kind of 3 top tips, I'd say, for anyone considering getting into SA or rent to SA.
I think those are really good tips as well.
Thank you.
I think that covered a good area, especially your first one might be the hardest because you are trying to gain that credibility. You're not 100% of everything that you're doing. So it's a real learning curve, that first property. Like you said, after you've got maybe 3 under your belt, it's just copying those systems across and replicating it.
Exactly. The first one's always the hardest to set up and also to source and negotiate on, because you're a newbie and you think, you know, I kind of had the mentality and the attitude of, I'm really desperate, give me a property, like, I can do this, just give me the property. And actually now I'm like, cool, if you don't want to do business with me, that's fine. It's your loss, because I know what an awesome service I can provide.
You know your worth now.
100%. And, you know, we're diversifying now into a completely different area. So it's like 4 hours away from where I live. And because the returns are so much better. And I did a video on this last week. I researched the area in depth before I contacted anyone. I then made the contacts, contacted the letting agents, contacted landlords from Open Rent, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace. We did 1 day of viewings. We only got to see 2 properties, but I went around as many agents as I could with my husband. And it was that really, really hot weekend where it was like 35 degrees or something ridiculous, and I was waddling around with my pregnant bump in this heat, got blisters on my feet, but I just put in the hard work. And we are now closing our first deal based on my first day of viewings in that area. Yeah. And, you know, we'd never met any of those agents before. A lot of them initially had objections, and I sort of tried to come back with a solution to their objections. So that's what I try and kind of get across to people who are starting out. You know, how do you negotiate with agents? How do you negotiate with landlords? And I just think, just be a problem solver and be someone who's obviously approachable, genuine, professional, but try and solve their objections and come up with an answer and challenge them maybe sometimes. Don't just lie on your back and say, take no for an answer kind of thing.
I think a lot of people, they get scared by the rejection part because they're like, oh, what if someone says no to me? And it's like, okay, they've said no.
Yeah, exactly.
Move on to the next one. It's fine.
What's the worst that can happen? They've said no, and you can just learn from that objection. You can learn how to handle that if that happens again in the future. That's the worst that can happen. It's a learning experience.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point. That's about all we've got time for. That is flying by.
Oh, that just really
did
fly by.
That's flying by. But I know you've got VIP over the road today, so I won't hold you too much longer. But guys, if you do have any more questions, feel free to pop them in the comments. We'll put all your contact details there as well, so people can get in touch if they want to know more about you. And I've really enjoyed this episode. I think it's been really good and learning a lot more about you and your journey, as well as like the reality of some of the property strategies, and like it's okay. You can move past it. You move on. It's a learning experience. But I think you've given some really good top tips.
Oh, thank you.
That's all right. Thank you for coming in today.
Lovely to meet you in person.
I know. Now we're not just social media buddies.
No, we're actually friends in person now.
But that's all we've got time for today, guys. So I'm going to end the live stream now. But thank you for tuning in. And like I said, any more questions, pop them in the comments, and I'll tag you in and put all your contact details as well. So that's it then, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed the content and value that we gave, then please click the subscribe button and the notification bell and drop any comments in the comments box below. Take care. Bye-bye.